Welcome to Beyond Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Petralis, and I am super excited to have on today's guest someone who I know on a personal level. Was also had the privilege of coaching him for a few years, and just kind of seeing the person and athlete he's blossomed into at Arlington Catholic. He's one of our Beyond All Stars, one of the first people I reached out to in this process. A three-sport athlete, a dominant three-sport athlete, I'll say that, captain in all three sports. And you don't see that where we're in a world of a lot of kids focusing and concentrating on one sport or maybe two. We have someone across the board who could play collegiately, really, at any sport at the next level. So it'll be interesting to dive into that with him today. So without further ado, senior captain of the football team, captain of the hockey team, captain of the lacrosse team, Thomas Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. P. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah. So you don't have to call me like Mr. P or Coach P today. Today is just Anthony. So
All right.
feel free to let that Mr. P label go right out the door. But you're interesting to have on. Obviously, when I coached you, I coached you as an eighth grader who had a waiver to come on, and instantly you played at a freshman sophomore team, and you were one of the best athletes on the field, if not the best athlete on the field in a lot of games. So potentially, football, we knew what you brought to the table, and I heard the history of hockey and how good you were in lacrosse, and it's been great to see you really blossom at the school and do well, and but also doing well in the classroom. Obviously, a nice hairdo there, which is so interesting because I had a couple Mefford guys on who have the same exact
Oh yeah.
hairdo. So we'll talk about that. But for you, it's really been like an honor to like follow along and continue. I mean, you still have hockey playoffs going on, you have lacrosse season coming up, and then obviously collegiately, you're going to be playing something at the next level. So first, I just want to say, proud of you. You've done a great job, and it's cool to have you on here. But let's dive into it a little bit. I got to cover you guys during football season. Obviously, I know the type of football player you are. But I'm going to ask you this because I know your dad on a personal level too. Talk about wearing number 33. I mean, that was his number playing there big time. Obviously, I know your brother wore it, but you wearing it. Just talk a little bit about being able to wear the same number your dad did at the same high school and play the same sport.
I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for my brother, I probably would have wore 12 because 12 is my favorite number. I've always worn it, but I saw he played AC football all 4 years, and he came before me. He was wore 33 all 4 years. So then once I got the chance to do so, I was like, I have to. And it's like, and I know how much it means to him, and wearing that and it fires him up. And so when I like got the chance to do it, I was like, nah, I have to do this. Like my brother wore it, he wore it. Like if I don't wear it, like come on, like
Yeah.
who am I? Like I gotta represent the family name, I guess, and like to wear with some pride.
Yeah, I mean, and your dad probably cried every time he saw you with the jersey on, I'm sure.
Yeah,
And obviously I know your dad a long time, got to coach with him and even better so become friends with him. And every time before one of your big games, I would get the phone call or a text or a voicemail that just
yeah.
gave me the scouting report of what was going on and what the game was going to look like in the forecast. So we got to obviously see you guys play too. So I got to see, some of you guys in action that I got to coach at a young age to see you guys, blossom into the athletes that you were and winning and qualifying for states for the first time in a long time at the school. So that was obviously a huge accomplishment. Are you like, now we put a thing on our Instagram of you giving this like awesome speech, pregame speech. I mean, kind of caught it by accident, was videotaping something else, and you just started talking, and I just like jogged over there as quick as I could. Are you like that in all sports? Like kids just like look to you and you just kind of give inspirational on the spot type moment speeches? Is that your MO?
I mean, to be honest, like knowing me, I'm very like in school, I'm very just like personal with everyone. Like if I see you in the hallway, I know you. Like I'm gonna say what's up and I'm gonna like talk to you. I'm not just gonna like walk by you. And like I'm very personal and like intense, very like emotional. So like in person, I'll be very goofy and very like like it depends what I am in every situation. But in sports, when it gets to game time, I get like really intense. And I start thinking about a lot of things, and like I can't hold it in, and I just start saying stuff. And then like once it started like last year for football, we do Cougar Jacks beginning of every practice, my junior year, and we had this one kid doing it, and he got us hyped up. But then I started doing it. Like I did it one day, like he was out sick. I did it that one day instead of him, and like we were fired up. Like I don't even know I don't remember at all what I said, but we were dialed in. And ever since that day, like I did Cougar Jacks or I gave like a speech, and we did like our Cougar Jacks. I gave a speech before every single practice, every single game. Like you saw the one you filmed, like that happened every single day for football. But like kind of just like once I get into the mode of all right, we have a game, like I know it's at stake. Like if I don't show that I've bought in, then if I don't like show that to the team, then I don't know how they can really trust in the system. Like if I give my big speech, I show like this is what we need to do, and kids are like, all right, here we go. Like I'm bought in, like so they can kind of dial in too. And it just like happens. Like once it's game time, like and I see we get the huddle, like I give the speech like for hockey too, in the pregame huddle around the net right before we say prayer, and like it's just we just had warm ups. I know a lot of people like pack barn. I'm just thinking like I'm getting in the mode, and I
Right.
start thinking about things, and we go in, and I just start speaking, and it works. Like whatever I say, like usually it works, and I'm just I mean, it's kind of I can't help it. I just start going into
No,
it.
I mean, I thought it was really cool. When we covered you, you were like before, when we got in the locker room, when we kind of filmed some stuff in the locker room, you were like getting everybody, like everyone's getting ready, you getting everybody kind of revved up and just pacing back and forth and talking. And then obviously your legendary before the Cougar Jack speech that I still like share my story every so often because I thought it was great. And then when you came in at halftime, like, or you guys went in before the game and you guys were coming out, you're like, this is a business trip. This is a business trip. And I was just like, this kid just gets it, man. Like he is juiced up all the time. So I was curious if you like that because I'm going to ask you this, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but obviously I think you can answer this question better than any high school athlete or most high school athletes. You're a 3-sport athlete. You're a captain of 3 different teams, one team lacrosse being now going into your second year. Being a 3-sport athlete, do you feel like your leadership style is consistent throughout, or do you feel like sport to sport you might be different about how you talk to kids versus how you rev kids up versus how you might like encourage a teammate or get on a teammate? I know sports are different, so I'm just curious from your standpoint, do you feel like you're pretty consistent with who you are, or do you feel like you kind of have to adapt depending on the sport?
I mean, like honestly, it's pretty similar, but if you think about, well, I don't know, like how intense football is, like before
Mm-hmm.
a game, all the
Right.
emotions, like like football's honestly
And you
different than the
don't
other.
see that in others. Like at least when I covered you guys in lacrosse last year, the before getting pumped up for a lacrosse game versus
Yeah,
football is just night and day. Like it's night and
yeah, it's
day.
it's not the same. I mean, it's like in lacrosse, it depends on like if a kid makes a mistake, like what kind of kid is he? Is he making? Has he been making mistakes? Have I told him to correct it before? Has a coach told him he's just fooling around? Like, how should I attack this? But it's like in football, like you got to be intense, like 24/7 almost. Versus you saw in lacrosse pregame, it's not even like talking down about lacrosse or like we're not that like that. Let me think it's a joke. Like it's just like not like that really. Like you can kind of it's more free. Like sports more. I don't know, there's more freedom to like do what you want and like. But then there's also circumstances where in hockey, like there's some games where like we played I'm playing like a good team, but we're beating them pretty good. And a kid makes a mistake and say he gets all down. And it's like, don't worry about it. This is a game to make a mistake and like,
Yeah.
work on it. Like next shift, just go out and don't do it. It's that simple. Like don't get in your head. And like that, there's a game like that. And then when we played St. Mary's this year, one of our kids, like it was like 1-1 game. We lost some OT previously. Like it was the most packed game we had all year because like we wanted, like, I've never beat St. Mary's in high school too. And so it was like all the seniors were like, we got to get this game packed. So it was packed. And middle of third period, one of our kids like went on a stretcher because he got killed. So he like went down. He just concussed. He's fine. But
I mean, he not
so it was,
literally killed.
yeah. He went on a stretcher though, and so we went back in the locker room and like he got wicked emotional, and that's where it's like everything you have to talk to kids like very delicately. Like when the kid who went on a stretcher, like one of his really good friends was like, I'm gonna kill someone. And I'm like, dude, like like he was gonna tell like he was gonna go out there and like kill someone. Like if like get a penalty. I was like, so I went up to him like, dude, like I know how like crazy this is right now, but like we need you. There's 6 minutes left and there's a tie game against like they were like
Yeah.
they're like 10-1-2. And,
Right.
you know what I mean? There's a must win game. So I was like, dude, like I know how emotional it is, but like we need you these next 6 minutes. Like go, like, if you see a kid with a puck and you see his shoulder, like, go ram into him thousand miles an hour, but like, don't do anything stupid, because if you do anything stupid, you're gonna put the team under the bus, and you can't do that. Like, we need you. And he's like one of our better players. First shift, actually, this kid was like literally ready to kill someone in the locker room. First shift, the kid who hit his good friend, like my teammate, there was a loose puck right in between both of them, and they're equally coming the puck full speed. And I was like, he's gonna kill him right now. He
Yeah.
killed him, and the place erupted. It was the first shift, right? Because he got hit on, went on the stretcher, and then there was like a 20-minute break. We went back in the locker room, like, place
Yeah.
was silent, no one knew what was going on. And first shift, like, this kid, I was like, dude, just keep it tame, like, don't go crazy. He, like,
Yeah.
first shift, he killed the kid who had the puck. It was like perfect.
Did you
And
win the
like,
game?
yeah, we won an OT,
Wow. Okay.
so
Yeah.
that
So
was
it's
big.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was it was huge, yeah. So,
No, that's
but yeah, it's
great.
like,
Yeah.
it's different hyping kids up and just like preparing for different sport. It is a little different. I mean, it's the same. Like, obviously, you go there, you have your routines. Everyone has their, like, hype up. You do this certain, like, stretch or like run before a game, but like the intense levels and like how you should treat it, like, depends on like so many things. You know what I mean? Like, if the game
Yeah.
is against a really good team, really bad team, if it's a close game, if the kid, like, if he's been like neglecting you the whole time and you like need to yell at him, and it's like, all right, this is the 10th time I yell at you, then go at him. But if it's like a kid who's just been trying his hard, like, you know what I mean? You can't
Yeah.
just, so
So yeah, you just kind of got to lead by, what the feel is, and that's great. I mean, I think that's what a good leader is effective, that they're able to kind of look at situational things, and understanding, knowing when to be maybe an encouraging leader and teammate versus when to be tough, when especially they're not maybe understanding something, not because they can't, but because they're not maybe as focused in practice, or taking something as serious as they should, or consistently making the same mistake over and over again. So I get it. So hockey's interesting for you guys, because obviously I think you playing BC High tomorrow.
mm.
Did you guys win? You guys won your first rounds, or is this your first
No,
round?
this is the first round.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So you got okay. So obviously you know your opponent pretty well. BC High traditionally is always a tough, Catholic school, all boys school team.
yeah.
You guys played them this season at all, or
Nah, so the tournament we just played in down in Falmouth, they're in the tournament and they just
okay?
won it. But
Okay.
like, and we could have ended up playing them if like but we just didn't. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
but we play, like you said, we play them 1,000 times, like, all throughout history and all that.
Yeah, yeah. So how you guys feel? I mean, what do you know about your opponent a little bit? What can you tell us about the boys as far as you're concerned, and how you feel like you guys have been playing?
I mean, we just, so as far as seedings goes and like stats, it's 32 team playoff, and we're the 25 seed and they're the 8, I think that's what it is. And so obviously they're seeded higher than us, like, by pretty
Yeah.
much a good amount. But like, playoff hockey is just like, or just playoffs in general is just different. Like, anyone can win. And
Right.
especially this year too, like, anyone can win like any regular season game in hockey. There's been some teams like Woburn right now, just where they were like around 20 seed, and then they beat Reading, and who's like top 10. They beat Arlington, who's like top 5, and then just started beating these teams. And like, anyone can beat anyone. Like,
Right.
especially playoff hockey, like, anything can happen. It's gonna be full. There's gonna be 2 fan sections. There's gonna be chants. There's gonna be emotions. Are gonna be flying everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
the adrenaline's gonna be going crazy. I mean, they're a really good team, but anything can happen.
Yeah, hockey, and you've seen plenty of playoff games that some team outshoots a team by 15, 20 shots, and they lose the game by 2 goals. So
Yeah,
sometimes it's just the bounce of the puck, or being in the right place at the right time, or good whatever the case is. But obviously for you guys, this is, for a long time, Dean Shine has been the head coach here. And this year you had an alumni who's kind of come back from I believe, the only team that's ever won the Super 8 championship, if it's the same
yeah,
year or not. But, talk about, I mean, for you, because your dad, I mean, obviously, listen, your family's an alumni. The Driscolls run deep through Arlington
yeah.
Catholic. So playing for someone who's an alumni who's gone through there, I mean, talk about the change for you as a senior going in, used to playing for somebody, and then having a leadership change, but somebody who played the program and, went through it just like you have. So talk about that change for you, and maybe how that has helped you, or just the change in general.
Um, yeah. I mean, definitely at first, like, because it was with Coach Sean, it had been the same, like, preseason, same season, like, same preparation, same practice times for past 45, 44 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, and my freshman, sophomore, junior year was the same thing. So and then he came in, and we had a whole new preseason. We had like a whole league preseason. We had all this stuff, and we started off good and like got us in a bunch of stuff, got us in camps. And I mean, I couldn't really do them. I couldn't do the camp sometimes with football, but
But that's
we started.
a legit excuse. It's not like because you're
Yeah,
going away or because I got my work schedule. Like, yeah, you're
yeah,
playing another sport. Like it is hard.
yeah. But and then he came in, and it's especially for everyone's been it's been Coach Shine for forever. So like any new changes, and we had new practice schedules, like new types of practices, like drills, all that. So it was different for everyone. Is it's hard to like trust and buy into a coach. Like you know what I mean? You have to see what they're about, what they can do. And so right at the beginning, there was kids on the line, fishy, all that. Like, what is this? Why are we doing this? Kids questioning coaching and all that. But I think we played our first 3 games of the year, like back to back to back, and then we had like a 2 week break for Christmas. Just we didn't have a game scheduled, and then we came back for January. And after that 2 weeks of practice, we came back in January, and like we were like a whole new team, and we started
Yeah.
playing way differently, and we had a better attitude. Because I told them, because we started off 1-2, 1-3, 1-2. Yeah, because we played 3 games early in December, then we had 2 week break, and I told them like right before 2 week break, I was like, he's gonna, because we had 3 Matanon transfers, actually 3 seniors who came, and they were stuck in a line. They've been a line their whole entire life, and like they weren't really used to playing this high level hockey, like for high
Yeah.
school at least. But I told the whole team, I was like, we're gonna change some stuff. He's gonna change a lot of things. I said everyone just needs, like, we just all need to buy in now, completely buy in, give
Yeah.
them, like, it was like kind of, it was kind of like, I don't know, but I was like, give him like a month, like completely buy in, see what happens. I think it'll work. And if we start winning games, we start get these new lines, new chemistry, new drills, we start buying in, and like, it's gonna start working. It'll be fun. And like, what I mean. But I was like, if it doesn't work, then I don't know what to say. I mean, but
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
At the end of the day, you're gonna make it work, right? I mean, good
yeah, it's
leadership can
gonna
make
work.
things work like that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and yeah, we had that 2 week break of like just practicing, and we came back like new lines, new team, new attitude. And I was like, just buy in. Told everyone just buy in, because if you don't, like, what are you even doing here? If you don't want to buy in, just
Right.
leave.
Right.
So like, everyone honestly bought in. We started winning games, and we won, like, I don't know, we won a bunch in a row. We had like good schedule after that. Um,
Yeah,
but
and let's not overlook the fact that you had 2 overtime goals within probably like a week apart that were obviously big wins for you guys. And one of them was in a tournament and so on. But obviously, in any sport, playing later, when you're playing later in a season and you're playing better, then
yeah,
obviously you're a scary team to play because it doesn't really matter about your record so much. You look at a team's last 5 to 7 games in hockey, and you see they're 6-1 and 5-2, and maybe lost a couple like 1 goal games. That's a team you don't want to necessarily play. So, I'm excited for you guys. Obviously, I hope your coaches would be a huge win for the program, coming in and playing such a really good team. And I got to ask you, if I walked into your locker room right now, how many kids have the same exact haircut on their head like you do?
I think there's like 22 kids who would dress, and I think we were pretty. I think like 20 kids got a mullet.
So
So
when you go to the barber, like, or someone on the team cuts it, like, what's the ask? Like, what are you asking?
so I went to my we you know how like some teams go all together. Like some
Yeah.
kids went together to the same barber, and I went to my own, but I got it last year too. Last year we got it, and only like less than 10 kids got it, which stunk, because to be honest, like the difference between this year's team, last year's team, is like, just we're a team. Like, to be like, there was
Chemistry.
some
Yeah.
there was some ego problems, all this. Like, we didn't really even make playoffs, other like we weren't over 500 by the end of the season. We just strength schedule got in, like, we worked for it, but kids weren't even, you could tell, like, I kids weren't fully bought in. But
Yeah.
this year, like, it's different, and the coach definitely helped with that. But um but yeah, the second we all got I went in last year. I texted my barber. I was like, I need my mullet again. I need it. I need it ASAP. We won. We beat Bill Ricca. like 2 weeks ago on Wednesday night, and I texted him that night. I was like, "Can you do it before school tomorrow? Like, I want it so bad. I swear."
Is that is your barber Mike Feeney, right? Is that who your
Yeah, Mike
barber is?
Feeney.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. He when I put stuff on there for you from you, he goes crazy. He's always sending me all the emojis or commenting
yeah,
like, I cut his hair, I cut his hair. He loves it, dude. So he's a humongo fan of you. So just so you know that. Um, but that's great, man. And it is, it's all about chemistry and buy-in at the end of the day, because that's, coaching. Like I say to people, anyone has ever asked me about high school coaching, and maybe some coaches will disagree with me, and maybe even some players disagree with me, but talent's going to win you a certain amount of games. Coaching's going to win you a few more than you would win with talent. And, you know, part of that is team chemistry, and part of that is getting kids to buy in and choosing good leaders in the off season. And I think sometimes in sports, that's one of the high school sports, that's one of the most difficult things, period, is choosing the right leaders, because sometimes captains can turn into, and this is not saying it did for you or anybody, but sometimes
yeah,
it can turn into kids get offended if they're not asked to be captain. They don't want to play. And what's the point? And, that's sometimes hard to manage and as a coach. So having kids that can help manage other kids is really important. And from what I've seen and obviously know of you, you probably make that very simple for coaches. So it's good to have that on your team for
yeah.
sure. Obviously I'm an AC alum myself, so it's interesting. I had a couple Medford hockey players on here, and I'm a Medford public school teacher, so I asked them this. So I'll kind of flip the question and ask you similarly. But I went down to Catholic myself. Who's like your all-time favorite teacher you had there? Just out of curiosity, it could be new school teachers, maybe an old school teacher that I had, but and you might, if you want to give me a few and not offend anybody, that's totally fine too. But what are some teachers that you've loved your years there at Arlington Catholic?
Uh, I'd have to say I'm definitely gonna give you a couple because there's some great teachers, but uh, Miss Davy for math. I had a freshman year. I have her this year too. She's a goat. Mr. Fay for English. I had him freshman, junior, and senior year. Um, he's awesome. He's wicked funny. Who else? There's that like and like a bunch of teachers are just like I know like some people I never even had. Like I just had Mr. Valero. You know Mr. Valero,
Oh yeah,
obviously. I
one of
just
the
had him like
greatest.
second semester this year, and like I already like I've known him. Like he's been my coach. Like Mr. Valero is a beauty. Uh, Same with like I've never had Mr. Sarmiento, and but he's just like he's also just a beauty. Like I don't know. So
Yeah.
great guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. I know some of them I don't. I mean, I had Cliv. I mean, Cliv to me is the GOAT, period, for all reasons. But my freshman year, I had a class with him. Like something happened in the school, like when I was in eighth grade, there might have been like a fire or something like that. So part of where they had classes was burnt. So we had class in some like next to Galian's. Like we had to walk in the back door in the alley, and it was Coach Clivio's classroom. And that's like where his classroom was. And I guess it caught fire or something. So for a year, we walk outside and walk behind like Galian's donut shop and go in this like back door and go
That's
into his class.
wild.
Yeah, it was like the best.
That's
It
literally
was
crazy.
awesome. You get a break from the building. Like it was,
Oh, I
it
know.
was
Yeah.
nice. It was just kind of nice. But yeah, I had, I think he's still there. I had him for, I think, history one year and psychology another year was Mr. Naughton. It was like his dad, I think, that worked there, and then young Mr. Naughton, but Nate Naughton. But
Yeah.
he was tough teacher, but I really liked him a lot. And sometimes he was really tough on me, but I used to love his class, and I always found him really interesting. And I don't know if he knows that or not, but yeah, he was another teacher that I really liked because he was tough and he challenged you. So I really respected that. But funny, man, funny, some of those names that you say, I know them. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to our sponsor here, and I know you're a Medford guy, and you probably have heard me say this. Do you ever hear of Four Pizza in Medford Square?
Yeah. My dad's been talking. He's like, we need to go. Mr. Petrell's been talking about it.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys gotta go. It's on 51 High Street in Medford. I've gone there like literally 3 or 4 times. Every time I go there, they're like everyone's super nice. I was like videotaping some of the different pizzas they've made, and I'll tell you, like I've had a pizza at a lot of places in Medford, but this is definitely the most interesting and probably the best pizza I've had thus far. So
Yeah.
get your boys down there, check it out. You only live like 5 minutes from there, so you guys are pretty close, but it does not disappoint, man. And it's like perfect size pizza to like, get for yourself. So you're a Medford guy,
Yeah,
get down there with your buddies.
definitely.
Um so for you, obviously lacrosse season's coming up, and being a 2-year captain, I know we covered you guys last year, and you were junior captain, and now obviously this year continuing to be captain and having new leaders on there. Just if you want to give a little like talk to or shout out about what you got coming back in lacrosse, what you guys look like, and maybe what the expectations are.
Um, yeah, we graduated a ton of middies, a ton of midfielders, but we graduated a pretty good class. Like our best deep hole, our best attackman. We're pretty young. We have first starters. I think it's just like me, another senior face-off guy, and then the junior attackman, and a junior LSM. I think that's it for starters. We don't have. I don't think. Well, we have one starter who was an eighth grader last year. He's coming back as a freshman. So
Wow.
we'll have a freshman for deep hole. Like that's the only deep
Oh
defensive starter
yes,
we have.
yes, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yes, now I
Yeah, the
remember.
little
Yeah,
little tiny kid. He's
he's
good.
good.
He's wicked good. He's
Yeah,
just yeah.
yeah.
But and then for attack, we just have one guy come. We have yeah, one guy attackman, one guy for defense, and three middies that like really like had started or had a role last year. So we're really young. I mean, we have a ton of guys filling in. Like we have a kid who he was a bridge kid last year. He's a freshman this year. He's really good. He's a midfielder. He'll play like every single game. He'll start some games. He's a face-off guy too. Him and our senior both take face-offs. So yeah, we're young, but we'll do every year. We every year is like we figure it out. We do good. So
Yeah, and it's nice to have those. I mean, you mentioned like bridge kids. I mean, that's what you really were yourself. I mean, when you look back on and think about you in eighth grade, that I at least to know in football, you played
yeah,
football as an eighth grader, and I think that extra year of development, and I've seen it in every sport. I feel like there's a senior now, right, that plays basketball that was an eighth grader maybe when he played, or there was a kid that was an eighth grader that now maybe
yeah,
recently graduated, but
yeah,
you're seeing it a lot more, and you're even seeing eighth graders that are either contributing in a small scale maybe at the varsity level, or as a freshman coming in, really it's like their sophomore year, and they might be able to even help out a little bit quicker. So it's great to see that the school had done that when I was coaching there, and to see that bridge program is effective to keep the kids there and actually going to Arlington Catholic after that year is even more impressive. I'll ask you a funny question here and make you laugh a little bit. Obviously, you've played a lot of different sports at AC, or just played a lot of different sports in general. Who's the scariest dude you've ever played a sport with, that like if you were walking in a dark alley, you would want them right next to you?
uh well, that's actually huh. Because I
There's
don't
probably
even.
so many answers, right? I'm
Yeah, I'm
curious,
trying to
just
think of
sport,
what's.
who like.
I'm trying to think what sport to think. I mean, honestly, like I'm even thinking back to youth because it would probably it would be football probably if some football player I played with. I don't think it'd be hockey. It probably would be you've covered him. Probably you definitely like Steven Douglas. I don't know, like Steve. He's like he's like a grown man. Like he's not like
Yeah.
too scary, but like I remember back in fifth grade football, like he was just a grown. Like he was out the whole season with like a broken wrist or something. He came back against in like the league championship against Melrose, and then like first he like returned a kick. I don't know if he returned a kick like outside run, outside zone, and he like trucked a kid. And we were in like fifth and sixth grade. He trucked a kid, knocked him down, and like knocked him into the first down marker, like the metal, like the guy on the sidelines, and bent it in half.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
we were like literally in fifth grade, and I was like, what? And like he's like wicked nice. He's not even like scared. Like he's wicked nice, wicked social. Like, but like he's like got some grown man strength in him. I don't know. So,
I love it. I'm always curious. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely played with some kids that I'm like, holy moly. I remember I played football at AC, and your dad would know this name, this kid, Brian McInerney. Kid's scared scared me to death. Like I felt
Yeah,
like could literally break me in half if you tried. So, and a super nice guy, super nice guy. Actually seen him like over the last few years and just like as friendly as can be. But yeah, you have those people that you played sports with when you
yeah.
were younger in high school that you're like, that person terrified me, but I would
I'd
want
have
him
to
by my
add though.
side.
I'd have to add two PI this year. I'd say Nick Gallagher, number 13 on the football team this year, and Isaiah Osgood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because I wasn't at this, but like Nick Gallagher, he's probably one of the smallest kids. He's a senior, so he's bigger than like some kids, but one of the smaller kids on our team, and he plays defense, and like he's the hardest hitter I've seen. Like he just knows how to hit. He knows how he just brings intensity. Like he's kind of quiet. And,
Yeah.
he doesn't really talk. He's timid in school, like smart kid. He's wicked nice in school, really nice to all the teachers. Like walks around, smiling on his face, and then like he gets in the football field, and he's not even too loud. He just stands there, kind of gets in the zone, and then like he's 100, probably like 145 pounds, and he like, goes in and will like kill like some huge kid and like dive at their legs, get up, and I'm like, I remember when we played Medford my sophomore year. Or I remember back in freshman year, he never played football before. And we're playing St. Mary's, and like they know St. Mary's has all these athletes. There's like this like 6'1" wicked athletic kid returning the kick, and he was his freshman year. He was like 5'6", like probably like 110 pounds,
Yeah.
and he runs full speed at this kid on kickoff, cracks him, fumbles, and like everyone was like
Yeah.
no. And then the next year, sophomore, when we played Medford. He I don't know what happened. He only played offense. I don't know why he wasn't playing defense, but he last game of the year we need a corner, and he was just on silent. He's like, I'll play corner this Dowling. I don't care. Comes in, and you've seen Corey Moore, right?
Yeah.
Like big kid. And he just comes in like he's playing cornerback. It was like outside zone. Right? He flies in, just killed them. Everyone was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So him, and then Isaiah. Isaiah has like this click mentality where like if he
Yeah,
gets
he's a
mad, he's
bad
gonna
dude. He's a bad
yeah.
dude.
Like
Yeah.
in 7-on-7s, those two kids. I wasn't the Cape for the 7-on-7, but we play in Watertown, and the quarterback for Watertown was also the safety, and Nick Gallagher like they were talking crazy back and forth, and Nick Gallagher like hit him double move on a post, and like as he like is running, he was like, damn, again. So like the kid caught the ball, touchdown, and then like the the Watertown kid like threw him. They like started like fighting right there, and Isaiah came flying, and Isaiah like grabbed the Watertown quarterback. Like I don't even want to get into detail because he was going
Yeah.
crazy.
What is
He
saying
had
got
his back like this.
slingshotted?
Yeah. So those two definitely, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you obviously have those people that you play with that the people that would you want by your side or just absolutely terrify you and you want them by your side regardless. Um And then obviously for you, like, listen, you play a lot of sports. Obviously, that means a lot of training. Your off seasons is not real off seasons because you're anytime that you have maybe not playing one sport, you might be playing another sport or training for another sport and so on and so forth. What do you do outside of sport that's just fun for you outside of playing sports? Like type of person you are, like what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? What are some things that you maybe people don't know that you love to do? But just a little bit more about who you are as a student athlete outside of what you focus on.
Uh I mean, honestly, I was gonna touch on this in a question before. Like whenever I'm in a sport, because it's like I'll be in like I was 3 sport captain, so people are wondering about captain's practices and like, can you make this lift when you're in this other season and all that. And it's like I like to when I'm in season for that sport or for that activity, I like to go like 100%. Like when I'm in football and like he's like we have hockey, I'm like, nah, like I like as much as like I'm the captain and I have to be there, like I would 100% try to be there, but like I'm devoted to football for this next couple of months. And once football ended, I was like all onto hockey. Once hockey ends, I'm gonna be all onto lacrosse, like 100%, just giving my all. And then once that ends, like in the summer, like I don't even like I was doing like I was playing, so I played club lacrosse during the summer, and that's like what I did. It wasn't too busy of a schedule, but like once like the summer hits, like I give my like I don't want to like be right on the field like working on like I like to just go 100, even like 100% on like it's summer now. Like I'm gonna go
Yeah.
enjoy some time with my family. Like I go to the Cape a ton in the summer. Obviously I worked with you last summer. Like I'm gonna just
Yeah.
have fun at work. Then after school, like like I would lift for sports during the summer, but I wouldn't like kill myself. Like I like everyone like needs some off time. Like you know what I mean? So
Yeah. No, I think it's great. And I think that's great advice because it is a grind, like you said it, like, yeah, I didn't even think of that aspect of captain's practices. You're like, "All right, let's get captain's practices together," but you're in the captain in the middle of another sport right now. So for
yeah,
you, it's hard to balance both on top of school and everything else. So, there's that aspects of leadership, and I ask you this question because obviously, and we'll touch upon this now, but part of you playing sports is obviously there's a vision to play at that next level, and what sport that is and what division that is totally up to you, and I'm sure the sky's the limit for you. But being able to balance that all and make those types of decisions are, I think, are really important. Have you put any thought into what sport you might want to play at the next level? Is it multiple sports? Is it one that you really want to focus on? I know we talked a little bit off air about this before we jumped on, but where's kind of your mindset right now with that whole, I guess, recruiting process and for your next level?
yeah. So it's that, like exactly like when I'm like in football season, like I like to go 1,000% for football, and then like there'd be some lacrosse coaches texting me like, "Oh, can you come up for like this overnight visit this
Mm.
weekend?" And it's like I'd have to miss like some film or maybe a practice. And I'm like, dude, like I don't even know like if I want to do that. If I miss this practice, it could affect this whole week, and like I'm in football season. So,
Right.
but like for next year, I mean, like I said, hockey. Like I'd love to play hockey, but honestly, like I have a better shot at playing football and lacrosse at a higher level. So, um, and I want to play both. That's the thing. I want to play both football and lacrosse, but D1, D2, like lacrosse is in the spring, football's in the fall. Like football is a whole spring season, whole spring league. Lacrosse is a whole fall league, whole fall season, like full workouts all throughout the year. And so D1, D2, they don't like, I've mentioned it to some coaches and they're like, I don't know. Like, I'd rather you not, I encourage you not to do that because it's not smart. You'll be really busy. But for some D3, because it's not mandatory, I don't think they can have spring or fall season. I don't know what it is, and it's not like mandatory like hours they can have you during like the opposite seasons. So like some D3s even encourage playing two sports.
Yeah.
But what I've always thought, like I've played every single sport all year round. Like right now I'm playing three sports. Like how can I go from playing three sports, doing all this to next year playing just one? Like I feel like kids, I know college sports is a full commitment. Like I know it is, but and kids say like I've told my friends like I want to play both. They're like, you're crazy. Like, what do you think? And they play college sports. Like, what do you think? And like, you're gonna be so busy. Like,
Yeah.
kids do it. They think it's hell, but it's like I can't even imagine myself. I said it to my parents like playing three sports and then just going to play one. I like I like would do it, but I'd rather just I know I can keep playing. So I know I can balance. I've done it my whole life, so I don't know why it'd be like so crazy to play two. But
Is structure like super important in your life? Like having structure, like if you had a day that was planned out from when you woke up in the morning to just about when you came home at night to eat dinner and then do homework, is that preferable for you?
I mean, it kind of just how I would usually do is I just like kind of play everything by ear.
Okay.
If I've busy day, if I have like three games, and my mom and dad like help a ton. Like my mom like knows what back in the day when I was like little, like I'd have like intramural basketball and then a hockey game and then a basketball game and then another hockey game for a different team, and like that would be she'd all have that all figured out and rides and all that. But even like this year with school, like sometimes I would have, I'd have school and I'd have a bunch of assignments due, and then I have football after school from 3 to 6 ish, and then have hockey, have half season hockey practice later that night, and then I have homework to do that night. And it's just kind of like I don't know, it's kind of which works the best for me. Like I'll go to school, find where I have open time in school, try to get the most done. Go to football, give 100% football. Like don't go to football practice. Don't worry about school. Don't worry about hockey. Like worry about football when I'm at football. Then once I leave football, I can figure out what I'm doing for dinner, what I'm doing for hockey, like who has my
Right.
rides, and then I'll do that. And then once I get home, shower, then I'll worry about like homework. Like I'm not really because if I worried about everything at once, I could just be crazy. So
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah.
how I like do it.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think it's admirable. And I think that, yeah, listen, structure at the end of the day has always been something that's been important in my life. And knowing what my schedule is going to be and what I have to achieve that day sometimes makes that burden just such a lesser burden of knowing that you have a lot packed into a day and a lot you have to get done. But like you're kind of saying that time management aspect of things, it seems like you have incredible time management. And yeah, if you go in with the attitude of, let's just see how this goes, and maybe it does become too overwhelming, or maybe just things cross
Yeah,
over too much to the point that it is difficult for you and you might have to make that decision. But why not make that decision until you actually maybe do it and you see the workload that it kind of comes with? So, I think it's a good attitude, but I also think it sums you up so much in a way of just kind of like, wanting to do what's best for the team, or wanting to do what's best for you, or wanting to do what's best for like the whole. So, you mentioned your parents and rides, and, we don't realize that until we're older, like how valuable and how much time that your family puts into making sure that you're somewhere on time all the time, and
yeah,
probably continue to do, in some ways too, even as you get older.
yeah, definitely.
Um, but let me ask you this, and we'll kind of like finish out with this. I mean, I want to give you an opportunity to shout out to the Cougar fan base here. I know you guys got a huge game tomorrow. You're playing at UMass Boston, so I'll give you the floor a little bit. Get the Cougar crazies out. Tell them why it's worth the travel and why they should be there supporting the squad.
I mean, yeah. So tomorrow night, UMass Boston, 6 o'clock, first BC High, Cougar Crazy theme. They're going white out. I've seen a bunch of their pump up videos on Instagram. They had a tough loss in the semifinals last year to go to the Garden. They want some revenge. They want some vengeance on anyone. So huge game tomorrow. We've had a good crowd all year, honestly. Need that pack game again. It's just gonna be an atmosphere. I know last year they showed out for we had a bunch of fans when we played CM in the first round of playoffs. I know they'll come again. I trust that they will. It'll be a barn. It'll be a great atmosphere. I mean, last night when I went to the basketball game, because they AC had a playoff basketball game last night, I'm just bumping into like 1,000 people, and like everyone's like, "Oh, you play tomorrow night? Like, who do you play?" Like, some people that haven't gone to games like, "Oh, I want to go." Like, it's gonna like you guys
Yeah.
have been doing good. I want to go. I see all this. So, I've heard a lot of people are excited. I'm excited. Like,
Yeah. Hey, listen,
just
I'm excited too, man. You're a beyond
yeah.
all-star. We're excited for you guys. So UMass Boston, 6 p.m. Arlington Catholic versus Boston College High School. Two really good hockey programs, traditional, very good hockey programs. It's going to be flying game. A lot of fans there, a lot of alumni. We'll be certainly keeping our eyes on it, and we're super excited. So thanks for coming on here. And you've been, when we created this whole Beyond All-Star thing, you were one of the first people that popped in my head. And truthfully, Isaiah was up there as well, of just people that I felt like conduct themselves with a lot of pride and work hard at everything that they do, and perform both, on the field, but most importantly in the classroom, being that student athlete, and conduct yourselves as great young men. So, I want to thank you for representing us and what you do, and being able to enjoy your clips from the fall and now the spring. I mean, now the winter, and now coming up into the spring. So we're super excited to continue to cover you and follow you into your next steps of your athletic career for sure.
Yeah, thank you too, Mr. Anthony, today. No, but whenever I send you a clip, and you put it on your story, then I put it on my story, and you say like Mike Fee, like I when I went and got my mullet, he was like, "Dude, I saw you score that goal. You dangled like three kids and put it right through the goal." Like, even like it's just random people seeing all this stuff, and then I put it on my story, and like so many people swipe up, and like so many like people from every different part, like a bunch of different towns, like my uncle, my aunts, like friends, just like so many people, like, "Oh, I got to catch a game now. Like, this looks sick," and just like it actually is like wicked fun. Like in high school sport, like high school, like no one's ever had this to like show off their game. And like when I put it on my story, like everyone, all my friends see it, and like everyone's just it's fun. It's like I don't know, it's sick. So thank you
Yeah,
for
I
that.
mean, and then that's like everything you just said made me feel so good, because that's at the end of the day, like why we do it. There's a lot of great things that happen in high school sports, and there's a lot of great stories out there of athletes and coaches and programs that have a tradition of certain things, or certain players that are playing for certain purposes, or someone who's just a really good kid who's doing really well. And, we try to cover that stuff. And simple as showing off someone's clip of a goal to a basket to a tackle to a touchdown, to me is just
Yeah.
so valuable because, like you said, it exposes you guys at a different level, getting more people to see you perform. Be like your speech like blew up on our Instagram. Like so many people that just were commenting me that like past teachers that you had when going to school through Medford, or people that were like, oh my god, is that Matt's nephew, or is that Jack's son? Like there were so
Yeah.
many people that were like messaging me. I'm like, yeah, it's another Driscoll. How crazy, right? Like, so I totally get that. And obviously your number one fan, we're not ending this episode without talking about your number one fan, John Luca, who has showed up to your football games this year and has shown up to your hockey games I've seen this year. He is a Thomas Driscoll diehard. And I just wanted you to get a chance to talk about him because he is a Thomas Driscoll ride or die number one fan. And we couldn't let it go unsaid on this podcast.
I don't know, John Luca. Shout out John Luca. I met him last summer at camp. He's probably he's probably training for a wrestling match right now, doing some pull-ups or something. But yeah, he was at all the football games he could be at. You just show up, you look up in the stands, and you see little John Luca with his, and then just get you fired up. See, he just comes out to your games, texts you good luck, all that. Like, you know, just,
Yeah. Do you
I
get
love
about
Johnny.
30 FaceTimes a week?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, I do too.
yeah.
I'm just curious.
You always get the text like, "How you doing? I
Yeah.
miss talking to you." All that, you know,
We love
every
him. We
day.
love him. We love him.
Yeah,
I had it in my notes and I almost went the episode without saying, I'm like, oh my God, we have to end it on this. So
yeah.
for those that don't know, John Luca, Thomas works with me in the summer. John Luca does too. He is our favorite human being in the world. And so we had to show him some love here. But thank you for seriously coming on, and good luck tomorrow as you guys look to, slay the dragon. Let's be honest, a good all boy Catholic high school hockey team that plays in a tough league. And you guys have played some really tough teams. You have some tough teams in your league in your own right too that are very good. And yeah, so I know it's going to be a great game. We're excited to see a Thomas Driscoll, another overtime or game winner to seal the deal. It'd be great to throw in the Instagram story. So good luck, buddy.
Thank you. Let's go.
All right. So from Beyond Podcast, I'm your host, Anthony Petralis, Thomas Driscoll. Till next time.